Hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel. And today we're here to talk about Lovecraft Country Episode 7. And today I got some special guests with me. I have Kat and Jazz from Girls That Scary Podcast.
Hey,
Say hello,
Hey.
everybody. I have Ryan from Brother Ghoulish. And I have Grae from Kill the Dead Podcast.
Hey.
And we're here today to talk about episode 7. I am Sasha Fierce. So,
if you don't chill,
She's every woman, okay?
yeah. Hello. I mean, this episode. All right.
Yeah,
So, this episode was wild. I enjoyed it a lot. I was confused as fuck. As well, that's me every episode. But eventually, I get pulled in or whatever. But being as though Kat and Jazz is new here, I'm gonna go with you guys. What do you guys thought about this whole episode overall?
I liked it. I felt like it was all over the place, as per usual, every episode. I really enjoyed it. I like seeing people trying to like find their voice again and rediscover themselves. Unfortunately, Hippolyta has been going through a thing for a long time because she know everybody lying to her, so now they keep lying to her face. And she was like, "We could just tell the truth. We ain't got to do all this."
Right.
So the real thing is, I want to see her come back and kind of beat everybody's ass. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I want to see it. But I truly enjoyed the journey that she went through. I was scared for her, but I also am very curious to see what happens when she comes out the other end.
Yeah.
I found it interesting because I'm also listening to the audiobook. Mm-hmm. So I'm listening to them side by side. And of course they don't match up, which is fine. I don't need the book to match up to the show, like play for play. We ain't got to do that. But it was just interesting where they took her because I'm like, she went on a trip in the book. But I'm like, that's not where she went. She learned way different information. So I'm like, what is she going to do with this information? Because she went and pretty much like kind of built her confidence. So, oh yeah, I'm out here with, shaking it up on the stage. Ooh, I'm also out here being a warrior. Y'all can't beat my ass. I'm like, is she going to take these fighting skills to the next dimension? Like, is this like, how on Dragon Ball Z, they go into the little training thing and they're in there. So I'm like, is it like that where is she gaining all this experience and when she comes out, is she going to have that? Because she clearly was there over time, but not long because Tick was still there. The bodies were still there. They didn't seem very, broken down or deceased or nothing. So I'm like, she was in a hyperbolic time chamber. Like, they put her there, and I want to come out and like, with what she knows, what is she going to do with what she knows? Because I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
She gave us looks. She gave us body. Mm-hmm. She gave us fight moves. Mm-hmm. And she also gave us gentleness, but also putting her foot down. I also slightly like Uncle George a little less. Because I'm like, well, you was holding her back.
Every man in this show was trash, but that's a girl.
And homophobic. Ew. Like,
I was excited seeing Uncle George, but then when they hit that conversation, I was like, oh man, damn. But I mean, it is what it is, I guess. Ryan, what did you think?
I definitely loved the episode. It felt like a direct. We stand a little ass beating. Amen. I wanted to acknowledge that first. I love the episode. It felt like a direct sequel to the first one in some ways, because George had been gone for so long since episode 2 that we get to through the universe see them reunited with her new perspective. And it definitely felt like it was very centered on, your true potential in the grand cosmos. And that was like so dope. It's definitely one of my favorite episodes. I was very excited. I can't wait to unpack. Like, it was amazing.
How about you, Grae?
I think it's a culmination of everything you guys said. I thought the episodes, I don't mean this in an offensive way, but was super campy. But I like that it went there, and they did it beautifully. Being able to showcase people of color or marginalized people in general, being able to find their voice or their strengths, or I don't know if this is time travel or not, but let's say multiverse at the very minimum, to where everyone can be as strong as they're capable of, or go on that adventure. Like the interaction between her and George was great in the aspect that he accepted her and he accepted what he did, and then you get that small glimpse of them going on an adventure together. So it's like he finally accepted the woman that he married versus the woman he forced her to be.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. Just a quick part. Well, on that scene right there that you mentioned when they went on that little journey together, it kind of reminded me of Avatar a little bit. If you guys seen that movie, just how like cosmic and bright, and it just took me into that world real quick. So I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But me watching this whole episode, I was still like trying to get everything together in my brain. I was still trying to understand a lot of things. But I agree with all of y'all. 100%. So we get to well, in the beginning we have Hippolyta. She's figuring out the orrery or whatever it's called, and she ends up going back to is it Artem that where all the stuff went down? Where it burned down. She goes back there, and when I was watching this, I was like, we haven't seen Hippolyta since episode 3, I believe. Was it episode 3? Yeah, and then like we haven't seen her in a minute. So I was just like, we have to know what happened in between, like, all this other stuff that was happening.
That added to this episode is that she's kind of a side character or marginalized character for us as well.
Yeah.
So it's like to get a full hour or hour and 2 minutes. Great.
Yeah.
And I like that.
They did a good job like following up too, because when they showed her tinkering with the orrery, they are basically saying, oh, in the time that she's been gone, she's been thinking of how to crack the code and everything, which was pretty cool. It felt consistent.
Yeah. Well, that was pretty cool. I'm happy that we get to explore, because that's one thing I like about the show too, is like each episode is like we kind of explore like every character have their own episode. And we kind of get to explore more about them and how everything connects later on when they finally all meet up. But we also get back to Ruby and Christina. Now, I think it was the last episode, the episode before, where we was kind of saying that Christina was potentially she's able to, I guess, transform into these people from dead people, I guess. Like, William, we figured that he was dead.
Yeah.
And the lady with the dogs or whatever, she was dead. And we were right. They end up being dead people, and she ended up taking the blood and turning it into a potion and just been drinking it and giving it to Ruby. What did you guys think about that whole part there? Like,
Ruby is in danger. She got to get out of here.
Yes. Christina, you can't be doing that, because that's assault. You can't pretend to be somebody else.
Yes.
And have sex with them.
You're going to jail.
That girl, prison. I mean, they wouldn't put her in prison because she can't, because she's magical. But girl, that's not okay. Whatever you wanted to get out of her, William approached her as a stranger as well. So you would have also been a stranger if you were going to give her these powers and do X, Y, Z. I guess she did that to seduce her. But I didn't like it. I didn't like it. It was sneaky, and I definitely also still don't trust you, because I don't know what you're trying to do. She's still vague. I could give you more. I want more. What is more? Because more sounds like control.
Yeah, but here's the thing. She keeps listening to what the hell she has to say. Like, I know part of it, like, she doesn't really have a choice, but I'm really curious to see how their last conversation kind of panned out. Because she was like, oh, but I have some more for you. And then she turns back. She's like, I mean, I don't know if she's like kind of 1 foot in the door, 1 foot out the door, like she's with the shits, but because she kind of actually is interested in what like is going to come of this magic and this power. And the other half, because, she's essentially trapped by a white woman. So, who got magic? Like she doesn't have magic as far as she knows. So she in danger. She got to get out of here.
That's a powerful enemy to have. You can't have her as an enemy.
If she keep popping up, and if she kind of knows, or maybe she does, because I don't know if she told her, but the house, she's got her money, what her mama's money really is her money, like all kinds of craziness. I really hope that we get. There are only a few episodes left, and I'm hoping that the story is able to come together in a non-chaotic way, in the end. But I don't know. Every episode is chaotic, so I
was just about to say that.
I don't know.
Because I'm like, what are we gonna do here?
Yeah, it's
They
wild.
They introduce more stuff.
Yeah.
More stuff.
They do that every episode. It's just like when we just get answers, they introduce more stuff, and you're just like, all right, so how's this all gonna like come together and end? Because y'all keep introducing more shit, you know?
Yeah.
So, that was wild. So, but you know, we were right about William being dead and her. But to be honest, I really thought Ruby was going to react in a more aggressive way. Like she was going to be super, super upset. She was upset, but she was kind of still trying to figure things out. So you could tell that she's not completely mad at Christina. But then you also see Christina, even though she's not I don't consider Christina a bad guy. Like we talked about this before too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like she's just trying to do whatever she had to do to get what she want. So I don't feel like she's like racist either. I just feel like she's just trying to get to. She has a destination she gotta get to, and she does whatever she had to. She do whatever she have to do to get there.
Yes.
She uses everyone equally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
very much that.
Even in the afterlife.
You can't even rest in peace without getting done in by her.
Right.
That's sad.
Almost everybody's my damn blood. It's crazy. And then okay, so then we get into Montrose and Sammy, and you know, Sammy's over at Montrose's apartment and stuff like that, and he's cooking him not dinner, breakfast and stuff. And Montrose is just an ungrateful fool. like come on, man. Like Sammy's going out the way, and you just sitting there being an asshole. But did you guys think about that whole entire scene first of all? I had mixed feelings. I had really mixed feelings.
Montrose is an asshole, and I feel like Sammy should never.
Period.
Sammy need to block him. Okay, he deserves better. Sammy cooked him breakfast, went to the store because nothing was in there but alcohol. He trying to take care of you. He trying to love you out loud, and you keep saying no, and you know you love him back because you was just dancing under the glitter last episode, having a
dancing under the glitter.
Do it itself though. That's the other thing, like all that internalized shit.
Yeah, and he's scared what
gotta
everybody
process
gonna
that, and that's not okay. None of this shit's okay. Not saying, but he's still processing that, which is fucking. He's trash. It tick trash. Once again, just trash. All I'm trash.
Because he's like, I saw somebody about it's my neighbor, so he already stressed like, does that you came from here? And yeah, I get it, especially with the time.
But he just cooked his breakfast. Oh, you think this is how I like my grits? I'm gonna beat your ass if you don't eat this breakfast and just shut up.
I would have threw the grits on him.
Hello, that's exactly what I said. I said I would have tossed that shit right at him.
Breakfast is over.
The funny thing about it is, in that scene, you feel the moment end because, like the scene y'all are talking about, where he was dancing under the glitter and everything. I already knew that was just a moment. I knew that there wasn't going to be this, coming out of Montrose. But the moment officially ended when he felt that Bernice, who was his neighbor, possibly saw, him and could put it together that he was gay. It was like the moment ended not just for us as the viewer, but it was officially over for him as well. And the funny thing is, when the scene started, I know I was surprised because seeing Sammy in his apartment actually cooking breakfast for him, it's cute, like it's nice, it's a good moment. So it felt like that moment was extended, and it's like, oh, okay, this is a horror show. They dropped the microphone because automatically he starts with nitpicking, which is big in relationships. People sometimes, whether it's gay, straight, or otherwise, people, when they're really upset about something, they may nitpick about the grits or nitpick about, oh, I cut pork. When, Sammy's like, well, when did this happen? I didn't know about this. And he's like, shit, is the coffee too wet? Like, he's not touching on the actual issue. And so the scene is it's hard to watch.
Yeah, it is. Especially the moment when Sammy storms out of the apartment and he runs into Letty and Atticus. And then Atticus, man, like I wasn't expecting him to say that. I mean, I can understand that he's hurt because he's been lied to. But in the same hand, just like, damn, bro. And like, Kat said, is in that time is different.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
It's still trash.
I don't know.
Trash.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's trash. every week, I just like,
It get worse and worse.
Yes.
What?
every week you got a new
unfortunately.
secret. Every week you doing some wild ass shit. I'm tired. Like, that's okay. Somebody
Yeah.
gonna pull up on him. I think a couple somebodies might pull
Oh,
up.
yeah.
I hope to see
You
it.
deserve it.
Mhm.
You know what?
Oh,
Yeah.
At this point,
but no, the
right,
show
it's time to
ends
nurture.
like the moment that happens. Though the moment they really run up, like it's over. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Because you just keep
Yeah,
pulling
totally.
up.
They better not pull
Right.
that son on the season finale because I'm gonna be upset. 'Cause I'm like,
Ooh,
so
I
we set the table,
know.
and now he can't even. Like, I get it. I know they're trying to make like Tick as
Amen
the
to
hero,
Kayla.
but also like every week you do something shaky. Like, yes,
Exactly.
there's stuff you also still have to unpack, but really, and then Laddie.
Yeah.
Just keep everybody
Laddie.
lifted. Keep all the characters
Because
lifted.
girl, this is, what year is this? You are stuck, my love.
54.
So in the dream, I
54.
was looking for fish. I said, hold on now, because usually when you dream that you're pregnant, that's not what that means. But
Yeah.
I was looking for fish, like old grandma.
Yeah.
I'm about to say fish.
Yeah.
Yep.
But then, when she was smelling the garlic, I said, no, baby, not you.
As soon as she's like,
Yeah.
ooh, what you put in here? I was like, oh.
Yep, I called it right away.
Yeah.
And we talked about that
started
last
not
week.
Like it.
Yeah, we talked about that last week as well, about Letty possibly being pregnant. And we thought that was going to be like the season finale, but no, we got it this episode. So I'm just like, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Especially because she was having,
positive.
yeah, that could be right.
I'm tired.
Especially Grae, what did you think about?
Well, I think that pregnancy is going to come into play in the last episode. Tick's going to need to pull his rank or something like that. It's not going to work.
Or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh
Or
snap.
save the baby.
'Cause
Or
it's okay.
and then you got a family, everything changes.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah, that's
I-
true.
He's for sure the anti-hero. Like, he's not a
absolutely.
good person. He's just
No.
forced into this supernatural, magical moment or series of events where he has to do the right thing.
Mhm.
But he was
Yeah.
never on track in life to be a good person.
Because I'm like,
And I want to see them win. Like, I want,
do.
but oh my Lord, every time, like, it's just because you move past it. You come back,
yes,
like,
because they did not introduce Gia for no reason. She's coming back, and what if she come back and you got a whole
he
Oh,
been
yeah.
waiting up the
baby
longest.
on the way? Y'all about to square up.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was going somewhere else, Lord.
No, they about to square up. They about to fight in the street.
No, that's what we said last week as well. We
Yeah.
was like, yo, Gia, she's going to come back. Then she's going to see Letty still involved with Atticus. And now
It's
that
gonna
a
be
baby is
some shit.
there's going to be some shit. And I mean, I love Letty, but Gia, she's going to, especially since
Gia's
she's the
not
damn
cute at
Nine Tails thing, whatever.
Cherokee.
I'm still thinking
Yeah.
about this other woman that was in Tick's dreams in the last episode. What's she doing? Back
Oh,
in Florida?
wait, hold up.
Yeah.
Wait, which one are
Oh,
y'all
I'm
talking
all
about?
up in his business, and she
Yeah.
knows
Remem-
about that too. So I'm like,
Yeah,
oh.
remember when Gia, she, her and Tick was in their session or whatever, and she was able to see his future.
Yeah.
And she seen him having sex with somebody that was not Letty or her. So, I mean,
Yeah.
In
Math.
Florida.
He got too many secrets to me. He can't be trusted.
Yeah.
He's somebody granddaddy from the past. This is the right time. 50s. That's somebody granddaddy with a secret family.
Listen, I know it.
You got a
I know
secret
it.
cousin right
girl down
now.
in Florida.
Tip was wilding.
Kalen is knocking it out the box. Like, he is a very human hero. He will disappoint. He will save the day.
Yeah.
He's definitely not a monolith because, like, all of us have shit with us. Like, that's the real
Oh,
tea.
yeah, totally.
Absolutely.
And he's an embodiment of that human aspect. Like, he's gonna fuck up, probably even worse, but his heart seems to be in the right place.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of it is his upbringing, because I see so much coming out, like, the longer that the show runs on, that is really true to how life works. Because when he was breaking down, like, in the alley about how his father beating him was so weird, it's Montrose was actually trying to beat the softness out of him because he was really trying to beat it out of himself. It was something that he was afraid of in himself. So by beating Tick and holding him to that standard, it was him trying to, in a way, do it to himself. And I think sometimes, like, parents who live vicariously through their kids, like parents who abuse their kids or beat them for certain things, it's for that reason. They're trying to, it's something in themselves that they haven't resolved, And so by inflicting it on their child, like that, they think they're helping, but I mean, they, you know, in retrospect are really not, because all he taught Tick to do was to hate that same thing. And that same hatred would come out in the hallway in that interaction. You taught him to, you know, through beating him and going through all these other methods, you taught him to feel this way in the face of this thing instead of teaching him how to love in the face of it. So Tick is operating based on his upbringing, and that's true. That's true shit. Like I meet so many people,
that's real life,
who when they meet me and stuff, they have a problem with me being gay. It's, you know, it is what it is. But I think that sometimes, like when they hang around me long enough and they realize, like, oh, you're the first gay dude I really hung around, it's not really a big deal. They realize that their upbringing is, you know, it comes from a place of these people who raised you. So obviously you're going to have that, you know, in you. I mean, it is what it is. But then when you meet someone, you start to think about things like, oh, we're all in this together. Like, it's not a big deal. It's about respect. It's about, there's nothing for me to feel, you know, messed up about.
Right.
And Tick will probably end up coming around because the way the show's written, it feels like he doesn't really have anyone in his life who is gay. For example, he didn't know about Montrose, even though his mom did. You know, Tree was being messy by insinuating something, but that's not really, you know, that's not really him getting to know anyone. It felt like he didn't even really get along with Sammy. Like they were okay, like, but they didn't know each other like that. But when he realizes, oh, this is the same dude that he's always been, it's not about him being gay. It's about, you know, he has some demons that he needs to heal, and he's imbued a lot of that into me.
Yeah.
So.
Well, damn, Ryan. That's the
well, y'all know I was going with that one. That one was like, I was like, okay, yeah, we can talk about this one.
But it makes a lot of sense, you know.
I think that's a real life problem.
It is.
In minority households, a systemic transference of ideology.
Yeah.
It's like you grow up thinking it's like, oh, I'm not going to do that because my father was that way. But then you end up doing that to your child in your own way, but you still learned it from your parents.
Yeah.
Subconscious. You know, we got to unpack stuff. People just should go maybe see a professional or therapy. I just feel like, me personally, everybody needs to just talk to somebody who is not biased and doesn't know you. Amen. So they can be like, that's traumatic. You probably
that's traumatic. That's true.
Because black people also laugh or hide their trauma. Like we either laugh at it or we put it away like it's trash. And we just pretend it doesn't happen, but it affects how we move. And as you see, it affects how Tick move. Like you think he's cool and you think he's this person, but you know his abuse. We know how his Montrose was early on in the show, and he was still like that. And we see how angry Tick got. Like, Tim, we could have killed him. Montrose's eye was closed.
On top of all the PTSD he got from being
in the war. He did bad things in the war. Bad things.
You know, but also with the people, with especially with Black folks during this time, and I'm not a Black man, but we all know Black men for the most part have a harder time unpacking a lot of shit because they're taught to be strong, they're taught to be the backbone, they're taught to not have any emotion about anything of that. On top of all of us being taught to compartmentalize, anything that happens to us and just push through and be resilient and always having to, you know, put on a straight face and blah, 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 especially during this time. And then you throw everything else in. I was like, this shit is crazy. I mean, yes, everybody's trash, but, you know, I completely understand why it's happening. But I understand why it's happening because it's generational, like having to break. Oh, here we go. Break those generational curses, like, no, really, like, but because it's real, it's very much real. And also, I thought this was triggering at the same time for me.
No, same here. When I was watching, it was triggered for me because I'm pretty sure for a lot of people too. But like, I went through some things as, you know, a young boy or whatever, and like just seeing that whole scene or whatever, and just Tick's reaction, and then just, you know, and the stuff that he was just saying, it was triggering. So I was in my thoughts a little bit, but then at the same time, I was like, all right, let me just get out of that. This is a show. Let me pay attention. But like you guys said, this is real life. This is real. So yeah. But on to some good news. We have, well, sort of good news. We have Letty and Ruby kind of having a talk in there. Well, Letty apologizes to Ruby for, you know, some of the stuff that she was saying and things like that. It was some repairing going on there. But my thing is between them two, they weren't still being honest with each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, like they were like, you know, even Ruby says like, even like I compare you to Mama, but even Mama wouldn't apologize like you did. But they still didn't tell each other what they experienced. Like Ruby didn't say anything which she went through. Letty didn't say anything which she went through. So I'm not digging too deep into it, but I wonder if this is going to still play like a part in the show where it's like they hiding these things from each other, and when they need each other's help, like will one of them like come to help each like to the rescue or whatever. But I will say though too, Ruby was serving some looks here. I mean, she was showing them legs.
Yes.
She's gorgeous. I love Ruby. But yeah, I just love that. You saw up?
I said I wanted that whole look. I wanted everything.
Just sitting on the window,
shorts.
like.
I didn't want the boys espadrilles. I did not want those.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just no. I'd rather be barefoot, but I wanted everything else.
Yes. But she's been serving
all the
looks ever
espadrilles.
since. Like she had the gown, like she was with us here.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also feel like the theme is going to carry on because you see Ruby peeking in on Letty on the phone, and she's like, you know, eavesdropping, like, what y'all talk about? And she's like, yeah, she's in danger, and she found this thing. So now Ruby already know that what you're not telling me something else, and I know something happened. They did not really explain the girl. They still told Hippolyta that the sheriff killed George. I'm like, girl, y'all went to this place. There was monsters. There was all types of wild stuff. Y'all might want to sit down and have a powwow, because at this point, people coming to get y'all. Y'all are in danger. All of y'all.
Exactly. And I think that, like I said, that's going to play a big. It's going to be a big problem in the show because nobody's not being real with each other and not telling each other anything, and they just going to be in trouble when shit hits the fan. So, and it's getting there.
That could be something they tee up for episode, what's it, 7, 8, 9? Because they both have Christina in common.
Yeah.
So Christina could be the crux that exposes, hey, you're both into something, and it has to do with this woman.
Yeah.
But we're not talking to each other about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Christina exposes them.
Yes.
Or maybe Christina exposes herself.
Yeah, exposes herself. So she might put them against each other.
I'm tired of her.
Yeah. Letty not cooperating, but Ruby is already did a few jobs for her technically. So I'm like, she might use Ruby against Letty because Ruby already banged with Letty, but she don't trust Letty all the way because Letty's still lying to her, and I understand. Yep. And Letty be mooching and Letty be wilding, and like, oh that, and I'm like, no, you can't just come back after like you just used your family up and disappeared on them. Like, but you know, it's gonna come back up. It's coming.
Oh yeah, totally,
for sure,
totally. Yeah, definitely.
She can't be pregnant. I'm tired. Because I'm sorry, y'all. I'm just like, oh Lord. I was like, Letty, no, Letty, I said, this can't be it. I opened my Twitter machine up. I said, oh no, oh no. Oh, this is not it. This is not in the cards.
I wonder why I felt the same way. Like I felt the exact same way. Like I was like, is she really pregnant? Like, and I feel like Bobby, you and Grae called it. I think like that it's probably going to be that Letty's going to end up being pregnant. I think it was like the episode we did, but I remember thinking like this is so bad, but I don't know why I feel that way. And then I wonder if like when Letty, when Letty walked in and the orrery started turning, it made me wonder if that was further confirmation that she was pregnant and that the blood and the baby was triggering. And I was like, okay, I'm digging too deep. Like, let me just. Because why
I would say with this show, is no such thing as digging too deep because anything is possible in this damn show. Like anything can happen. You know what I mean? Like we made so many predictions throughout the weeks, and how many of them came true so far? That's true. Ryan, next week that shit might happen.
She might go forward in time and already be having a baby or something. I'm just playing,
Lord.
but
we don't know how far, we don't know how far what this magic means and or does. Like you literally saw them, like Bobby said, it was in the Avatar world, touching the flowers and the flowers moving and everything. Which I was like, dang, I kind of want to see more of that because it's kind of cool. Dang, I wish Uncle George was here.
No,
he's right.
He's trash too.
When Letty I feel like Letty gonna walk in on Tick making these long distance phone calls, running the bill up.
Oh yeah,
I'm ready because I'm just,
hey Robert, it's Shirley.
Okay, because I don't want to see nobody coming about nobody as a woman, but also at the same time I'm just like,
on Twitter someone made a joke about that. They said
Letty can't beat Gia because Gia
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. Well, who knows what the mystical situation going on that could or could not be possibly happening because they never outwardly say she's pregnant, but we all know what pregnant looks like.
Yeah.
So it's just,
and
then the ancestors trying to tell us something. Because clearly she's pregnant in the dream, then she goes up in flames. And what I also thought was interesting was when Letty described it to Tick about the dream, she was saying that she didn't feel afraid, like she felt like kind of like confident and strong. I was like, girl, what's really going on?
Is this fire cleansing? What's going on?
Well, I think she was trying to cover it up because remember at first she was going to say she was pregnant, and then like she was like, hold up, wait, and she just reached for anything because sis looked scared when she went up in them flames. I don't care what she tell me.
Yeah.
And I don't blame her. I'd have been scared too. And
hell yeah.
This why you got to get away from Tick. Tick needs to start paying rent like everybody else, and you need to have him a strong girl because your life was better without this.
You need to go buy a stroller. You need to go ahead and
buy a stroller.
No, he needs to go. Like, you need to pull your weight. What's going on here?
You better hope and pray his secrets don't come to surface because they already been started, and I'm tired.
I hadn't really put that together that he wasn't really earning like money until someone said it in the episode, which is funny. And I was like,
also, you never see him go to work.
Yeah, like I mean, well, is he getting paid from having left the military? Is he getting a pension? Like for that?
I don't know, but isn't he working? He was working for Uncle George, so the business is still
Oh,
running.
yeah.
I feel like
but he's staying in everybody else's house. He ain't got his own house.
Well, he has a house down in Florida, though. I mean, not a house, but I think like a little apartment or something down in Florida.
Is he paying the rent?
How we know about that? Is that secret lady he living?
What if it's
wait, did you crack it?
Oh, probably
that's
so.
what I'm saying. Like, I've never seen him go to work. I've seen a couple other characters go to work. I've never seen him go to work. I've seen him working around the house. I've never seen him pay rent.
That's consistent with the clock that one of those people, like from the comments last week, said. Because it pains me that she got pregnant by a broke boy.
Well, girl, it's really upsetting me and my homegirls that you would do such a thing. Like, why would you put yourself in such a position?
Kaylin came for blood tonight.
Right. Come on.
Come on. But like someone said like last time, like, because I was digging for mess. I was like, either he cheated on Letty, due to the vision, or he lied about being a virgin. And someone said, well, no, there was a stint of time where, he was in Florida. So when you said that, it all came together for me. How do we not know there is another woman who is like holding it down while he's down there, who is like going to pop up in the third reel?
And his thing is to live rent free. Okay,
y'all are not over that.
I'm tired because we see it. You know it when you see it. I said, hold on. I peeped that episodes ago. I said, wait a minute. I ain't seen him go to work yet. We've seen everybody else go to work. What does he do outside of this house? I mean, I know we know like some stuff about him, but I don't ever see him like go to the library or
he's office eye candy. That's how that's his lot. Like he's office eye candy.
And he's a handyman.
He looks. I mean, yes, he does look good to look at, but also, do he have a job? Because I'm thinking, Letty got this house, and I know she's collecting rent, and they exposed. Well, he didn't pay nothing, and that's not the first time somebody has made a comment about them messing around with each other before being public. So I'm just like, girl, Dick don't pay the rent, baby. What's going on?
It doesn't.
That's true.
Rent is due on the 1st every month. And I just really, and then as a baby, you ain't bringing no food, you ain't cooking nothing. All you doing is downstairs with these library books trying to figure out how to cast these spells. And
bring otherworldly creatures into your life. Open your purse. I'm tired.
I feel a metaphor in that though, like to be for real, that he is down there all the time with the fantasy of it all. when the real world is moving around him. That's interesting because that's consistent with his character. Like when we first meet him, he loves being in the books. He loves the escapism of reading about different genres. So it's consistent with his character. It's just that now he has a potential to actually see it like actualize. So like, why would he not? Why would he not go down this rabbit hole and neglect his financial responsibilities?
Yeah, true.
I just don't know if there was child support in 54, so I don't know how that's going to go.
Yeah, you think he's pulling his weight. He's fixing a few things. He's protecting the house.
I done heard this story before, so there's a lot of people Gene. So I just sitting here like, okay, I just see these stories. I'm just sitting here like, girl, that's when Letty was holding us up. I said, Lord, Letty, no.
Letty went to work. I seen Ruby go to work. Everybody was getting a check.
But I do want to see how all of this is going to play out. Like, although I think that Tick is a very shaky character and I have my gripes with them, I don't want to see ultimately what everybody, the story's predicting. He finna die. Or die.
I'm okay with quotes.
I'm also okay with it too. I love a bleak ending. But I want to see how the story is going to go together. I want to see how it's going to flow together. I hope that it's not going to be a bunch of shit just thrown at us. I liked how the alien godlike creature kind of looks like Garnet from Steven Universe. I was like, yes, get it.
I caught that.
I was like, oh, this is so cute.
Yeah.
I like that, we got to see characters be happy for once, instead of being stalked by white people the whole episode. It was just, yes, there was a point where you get super stressful about, being attacked by the police, like they rolling up on you, and now I don't know about y'all, but I like to see the clip afterwards where they're now we seen the comic book, so they're going to go after baby girl's daughter, and I'm just like, Lord, please leave the people alone. But we got to see some Black folks enjoy having a good time. They're still going through shit, but they're navigating a different experience that's aiding in their growth. We're seeing some character storyline progression. I always enjoy that, especially with y'all said, somebody who's a side character. So now she can still be a side character, but we know more about that side character, and we don't have to go back at the end of the episode and be like, I wish I knew more about XYZ.
Right.
Yeah, and I like that. I do.
I like that you brought up the comic book as a tie-in. I kind of saw that as that's where Hippolyta and George went. They went and explored the world that their daughter created together. I'm not sure if that's true or not. That's just what I choose to think.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It feels that way.
I think that's the best answer, so I'm just going to stick with that now.
Yeah, same.
That's what's happened in my mind now. You said that.
But I also wonder about the repercussions of where the cop went knowing what he knows. So I don't know if that's going to cause damage or
it is.
That's never going to come back. I don't know.
He about to tell his boss. He about to tell all 12. Excuse me, they're going to call the 12 hotline. Excuse me, hello. I have located.
And they know what they say. They know all their business.
Yeah.
I'm stressed.
And then they might have to lean on Christina. She might have to protect them.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's very scary.
She protected them from the police before.
But don't mean she finna do it again. Maybe she had her one and done. Because she did flex before, you can't kill a white. You must have thought you can't kill a white woman. I'm like, Lord, see, there you go.
But where the rising tension is pointing is also running in parallel with this constant reference to what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. So it's starting to make me wonder if the Book of Names was actually the catalyst in this world, obviously, for what went down for the real life incident that went down in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Because it seems like things are pointing in that direction. Because when he went to go talk to Miss Berta, I think her name was, it sounds like the book was burned up in the Tulsa riots, right? Did I catch that correctly?
I missed it.
I'm gonna have to go back.
Yeah.
And then
rewatch this.
That with the what's it called? The peak for next episode, the rising tension and how they set all that up. Excuse me. It just makes me wonder if this has happened before, where there is, because obviously the police know something, because they had already kind of hinted for a few episodes that Lancaster was associated with all the magic. They had already kind of laid that down. And then in this episode, when they finally do see Hippolyta go down to the machine, we see that a bunch of cops are down there and they're aware of the machine. It's just they weren't smart enough to actually crack the code, because everything that she was actually doing, these are things that they set up. Tulsa is the center of the HBO universe. So like everything they had actually like set up around this, her cracking the code was Hippolyta's character arc. Like she knew the stars, she knew the cosmos, she knew all this stuff, but she never really had a way to use it. They didn't know how to crack all that shit. They could have gone down to that machine every single day, and like they would not have been able to do like what Hippolyta did.
No.
So that's why they were so, aghast. They're like, "How did you? What do you know? Like, because they can't believe that she did it."
Yeah.
But yeah.
They didn't even beat her up off rip, because I assumed they were just gonna kill her or shoot her or beat her up.
I knew it was coming.
Yeah, I was like, oh, they about to just beat her up, and they were like, we can't even kill you because you know something, and I need to get that first.
But I also felt like they was a little mad, like, how the hell?
Oh yeah,
she know how to do it. I'm like, Lord, please get up out of here, girl.
Because she's favored.
Yeah, they were very upset.
Ooh, she's favored and you're not. Sitting.
Their pride was definitely hurt. Like their egos were bruised.
I was stressed. I was stressed the whole episode. There was like, felt like high key. It was like a roller coaster for me. It's like I am like, oh my gosh, there's so much happening. Then I'm like, oh okay, there's some nice moments. We're about to find Lord, girl, help! Like it was back and forth. And now I'm just sitting on my hands, like, well, what's going to happen next week?
Yeah. How did you guys feel when Hippolyta fell right into the portal and she met, I don't know, it was like some Afro
Garnet, like they said.
Yeah.
I love that.
It was amazing, but at the same time, I'm just like, what the f is happening? Like, I just didn't understand. And then she was going through different, like, I don't know, what was those numbers at the bottom where they like
coordinates?
I think
coordinates, coordinates and stuff. And then she said that she wanted to go to Paris to dance with Josephine Baker. Now, I love that part. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. And then she, like, wait, first, how did you guys feel about that scene? Because it seemed like she was having a great time. Like, it's not like at first she was like out of her element, but then she was just like, she kind of got into the swing of things, and it just seemed like she just was having a great time in that time period.
Yeah.
I thought that the coordinates were reflective of her trying different universes of where she would be successful or strong. And so she kept repeating until she found the right combination. So to speak.
Oh,
that makes sense.
Because some of the numbers only changed by like 6 digits. So it was like time and place or something like that.
Yeah, you pay attention to that shit. I just seen numbers just scribbling. I was like,
Me too.
okay.
I was like, that's crazy.
I was like, oh, this coordinates, I don't really know what they mean.
They're going to
Yeah, I'm just like, okay.
I didn't pay attention, but once it got to another place, I was like, oh, this is going to keep going. Then that's when I started looking at the numbers. But I know shit about GPS. Like, I can't tell you what it's supposed to reflect.
You know, I thought it was beautiful. I thought that she found her way in each, because she was like off kilter in each part. Like the first one, she wrote this video, she doing the dances, she not doing the dances, they taking the top off. She like, oh wait, then they cussing her out because she taking the dance moves. But then she click up with Josephine later on. She's talking to her and she's you see her practicing and learning. Then when she goes to the warrior thing, she getting her ass beat. And she's just like, no, she's getting her ass beat. And then the girl's like giving this speech like, oh, they thought you was free. They told you was free. You won't free. The fuck? We got to fight for this. And she's like, so she had to fight. Just like, it reminded me of 300. You know, when they throw you into the gladiator pit. And then you just got to fight for it and learn how to fight to survive. Yeah. And then like, oh, she's out here fighting wars. And then she's like, oh, wow, I'm sure this wife. And then it starts off rocky because you start the conversation off, oh, they cute. And then she's like, you held me back. You've held me back. And then they go on the trip. It's not like they just magically go on the trip together. It's first the conversation of we have to confront the weakness in us so we can be the best that we can be. Or we have to confront what is holding us, what is limiting us in this situation so we can be what we can be.
Yeah.
That was real deep to me. Like when he was like saying that, when George was like saying it to Hippolyta, it was just like, damn, like that's real life too. Like even with like couples and just with friends, you have that conversation. You might have that one person that might be holding you back. And sometimes they don't even know it, you know, like sometimes they just, especially in relationships, like you building a life together, and sometimes you're just so caught up on building that life together that you forget about each other's dreams or what that person want to do. Or sometimes it's just you focus on your partner or your significant other's dreams that you kind of forget about your own. So I definitely felt that scene a lot. I felt that shit's real life.
Yeah, it is real. And I definitely feel the same way that you guys are talking about. Like, I really don't have much to add to it. It's just, that is real. I don't think that when she was going through each scene, right? I don't think when she first got there, she kind of understood like the significance of, everything, because like she was so free in that first one. But to have that intimate moment at the end to culminate with, I'm so upset, with the world for having lynching me in this very intricate and complex way that I didn't even see them doing it. But I'm more upset with myself. And, to like reclaim it and say, okay, well, I am Hippolyta. And then to realize what your identity is, and then to go into an environment where you actually have to fight for it. It's like, it's not going to be easy. Like the realization, that's just the catalyst for the change. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to fight for yourself. And then even after all that fighting, for her to say, I am Hippolyta, George's wife, and then that scene to happen, that was a big scene for me because I loved Hippolyta and George's love. And it was one that I was super emotional about in that first episode. And it felt like this idealistic marriage. But to see it from this new perspective, it's kind of like that old saying that people go to. I'm probably going to chop it up, but it's something like, you shouldn't look at other people's relationships and think that everything's perfect, because like no marriage is actually perfect. Like everybody has like their problems and stuff. Because I don't think that George actually knew that he was holding her back. I think that he did like admit to, I wanted you in this capacity because I wanted to know I was coming home to someone. I wanted you to like run the home front, but he didn't think about how much that was actually destroying who, she saw herself as. And so all of those parables coming together for that was dope. Like, I love the way they did it. And I like that they didn't end it on a sour note, because I'm like, don't come for my favorite couple on the show. Like, don't do this to me. But then for him to like, be more, like vulnerable to it, like to say, I want to go there with you. I want to go with this grand woman, and I want to like see the cosmos. And then for them to do just that, and the fruits of that to be Lovecraft Country. I know y'all saw the book, like it said, Lovecraft Country.
Yeah, I got hype on that part.
Like I was like,
do you know that it's like a meme of Leonardo DiCaprio? He's like pointing at the thing when you like recognize. That was me when I seen the Lovecraft Country book. I was just like, oh shit.
We're talking about the one where he's doing that face with the cocktail, or no, not that one.
No, it's not that one. Wait, is it that one? No, it's not that one.
Oh, okay.
I'll send it to you. It's really funny.
Yeah,
it's like when you realize something or whatever. And
yeah,
it's like, yeah.
I saw this whole thing of was like her having her art quickly, but who knows how long it took. Like hopes and dreams and then reality. Like the first segment with Josephine Baker, it's like she thought that would be fun, and then she realizes it's work, and she's got to actually participate, and it's not just. Well, she eventually got to the cocaine and smoking weed. Out the gate, she wasn't there. And then same thing when we get to the next world. She basically has to live up to her namesake, right? She's portraying Hippolyta, Queen of the Amazons. So it's like she's seeing what it takes to be that strong, to live up to her name, the hopes that her parents probably thought she would have. And then the realistic part of her confronting her husband of like, I've been shrinking myself in this relationship.
Yeah.
And like, I need you to recognize that that's not going to happen anymore. And through acceptance, they were able to go to the Galactics and explore together, because she found
Avatar.
She wanted. Avatar Land.
I didn't know that's where the name Hippolyta came from. I had no clue. That's really cool. So that is like it's like you said, like what her family probably wanted for her, what they saw when they named her that. That's dope. Queen of the Amazons.
Yeah, I love that. And she also calls herself like a discoverer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I just love that whole entire thing. So what do you guys think about the end when she was talking to I'm gonna just say Afro alien? Contestant. I don't know what
Miss
it is.
Garnet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she was just deciding to go back. Like she was giving her like a choice or whatever, and she was like, "Well, no, do I want to go back home?" But she was like, "Well, Dee needs me." But we don't necessarily see her coming back home. It's just like Atticus come out the portal, and you know he sees like the he's trying to like fix everything or like turn everything off, and then he like runs out. But we don't, and it ends like we don't see Hippolyta come back. So like you guys were saying earlier, like I wonder how she's going to come back, and when she comes back. If she's like since she went through like the whole warrior thing, if she's going to come back and utilize that in some way in the show later on in the season. So,
something that Grae said earlier, I want to bring back up because of when she said that I think Dee needs me, right?
Yeah,
her coming back feels like it was her being Orinthia Blue in the comic book, so it's almost as if to say that like I don't know how to word it, but like. Orinthia Blue being this hero for her daughter that she's creating based around and feeling inspired by at the same time. Her mother is the Black person who shows up as the myth, as they talked about in that quote that was running around that time, because they say that Black people are the myth because she went through all of this stuff and she lives on in literature, because you can be there for somebody, many different ways. But like literature is immortal, like it lives on forever. And by Tick coming back out, that's kind of alluding that to me, like he's going to serve a different capacity that she wouldn't be able to provide. Everything that she's done for Dee has really empowered her to be the woman that she will become, and it's living on through her literature.
Okay.
So or something like that.
Yeah, because even at the end, you see that the camera zooms up into the zooms up on the comic book, and it says Orinthia Blue, and then it said like D Freeman or whatever, and then that's when it goes off. And then fast forward, and we get to we see what the next episode is going to be about, and we see D is pretty much going to be focusing on her.
And I'm scared.
Yeah,
me too.
Like, please, I saw monsters.
And did y'all get that like right in the beginning? Did y'all get that Nightmare on Elm Street reference?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
You didn't see that in the beginning?
1, 2, Freddy's coming.
As soon as you saw the kids, I said, "Ooh!" I was like, "Wait a minute, hold on."
I saw the trailer,
and it's throughout it because they have like the striped socks. They're doing like the schoolyard games outside. So I'm just sitting there. I'm excited, but also I'm just like, I'm gonna keep my thoughts lifted for this little girl because hopefully her mom comes back and is able to just pull up in time and save her. I don't know how that's gonna. I don't know because I feel like she's going to need some sort of saving. The whole like clip looked a little chaotic, and I said, okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Unless she saves herself, she's smart too. I don't know.
She is smart.
She's pretty resourceful. I don't know.
I'm stressed.
Or if you guys are saying, I didn't see the trailer, but if you guys are saying it had Nightmare on Elm Street vibes, do you think what we're about to get is a dream sequence?
Please.
So it can be more natural, outcomes can look permanent, and
I mean, to be quite honest, the whole situation with Hippolyta, even though I hate to be a downer, like she had the conversation with Uncle George, I'm like, oh, okay, like tying into this dream sequence thing, it doesn't really say if this is actually happening or it's not happening, like if this is just some kind of simulation on the ship. Okay, tinfoil hat on. Like but really, like Uncle George is dead. So this conversation she's having with Uncle George, like, is this a real conversation that is existing in a different time zone, like dimension situation, or is this a conversation that is happening in her subconscious, and all these things are something that are so realistic to her, but like dream sequence? Is this just really going what's on in her mind as she's just sitting on the ship and the aliens is turning up on her after they told her to just sit down, girl, you're free to leave, but you're not free to leave at the same time. So I didn't want to like bring it down, but I'm like, she really could just be having this conversation with Uncle George to kind of just make peace with the fact. I mean, he's gone and she knows he's gone.
For herself.
Like, exactly. So I didn't want to be down. I'm like, I mean, I know she's not here, but is everything happening to her really happening to her?
Yeah.
Giving her these hallucinations or whatever. They're making her go through this so she can free herself like Fantasia.
I mean, hey,
Like-
I'm looking for it.
I'm hoping it was real because in my perfect world of this season finale is that the reason we don't know where she is because she went back to save George, and she's going to come back through that way.
I'm stressed.
Spoiler alert,
because
I'm going to be right, but I doubt
Come
it.
back out there. That's also.
But even still, I'm stressed because before George died, right? Because remember George's story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
George is still, he's in love with Hippolyta, but he's still in love with a whole nother woman. So now we got to deal with that. Like maybe he wanted to stay dead because I felt like when he was having that conversation, whether it was like real or not or an illusion, maybe that was like his like happy place. So maybe that's where he kind of went when he went on. So now I'm like, damn, maybe dead is
That's
better.
true.
I don't know. But we're gonna stay positive.
Sometimes
I'm
dead is
stressed.
better.
Everybody's past coming back.
In dangerous
Wait.
ways.
So are you saying he's like, are you staying here? Because this is my spot. Like, don't ruin my happiness.
I don't know. Like, I feel like he's happy with both women because we're introduced to his first love, which we already know which really is going on here is Tick's mama. So
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. Hippolyta probably is not privy to the fact that, because obviously we're not the first person we meet that they're in love with. Like, that's insane.
Yeah.
But
Right.
maybe she's not privy to the fact that that love is still here. And, I honestly think that if he went on, that he wouldn't be too upset if they reunited at the crossroads. You know what I'm saying? Like, it seemed like the way when he was talking to her, like they were longing for each other. Like you can still love somebody and you have that in your chest, but when he saw her, he was just like, damn.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, ooh, but from there I said, damn, it's crazy. Hippolyta, what's going on, girl?
Also, that made me think of, remember when you was talking about not only that, George had a secret to tell Montrose. Montrose might
You already know
not
what my
be
theory is.
Tick's son. It was like, we already handled that. No,
That's what I was about to say.
Something you didn't handle. What if that is what's the name? What if the Tick is actually Dee's big brothers? Well, not big brother, half brother, or something like that.
I mean,
yeah.
So I'm not gonna spoil nothing because I didn't read the book, and somebody kind of spoiled it for me. For somebody that did read the book, but also I just kind of still want to see for myself to confirm or deny what I heard.
Yeah, especially since it seems like the show rather deviates so far off of what the book is doing from people are telling me.
Yeah,
I stopped halfway through the book. I'm just gonna wait until the show's over, then I continue because it was too much for me to pick up, and I was getting confused, and it was just like, you know what, let me just enjoy the show, and then I'll go back to the book. So yeah, oh man, this episode, guys. One thing I wanted to point out too is also this is going like in the beginning of the episode, but remember when Hippolyta was driving and she see the motorcyclist or whatever?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was supposed to be the reference to what is it, Bessie Springfield, the first African American motorcyclist that rode solo around the US. So that was pretty decent. I like how they do that with the show. They kind of like add little references from Black history into it. You know, you had Emmett Till, you had this, and like you said, Grae, I didn't know that they called Emmett Till Bobo. So and he's referenced throughout almost all these episodes. Like when the little kids were playing on this episode, they was like, "Oh, Bobo," and I'm like, "Oh, Emmett Till's like throughout here." So I wonder if that's. I doubt they're gonna make that into something, but I wonder if that's gonna like be referenced somehow, like his murder's gonna be referenced somehow in the show. I don't know. That might be too realistic.
It's gonna be referenced for sure.
I think this is the episode where they alluded to it because I think they said he didn't come back from his trip. I think that's when they brought him up this episode, right? That they said
he's originally from Chicago, right? And then he goes down south, and that's what happens on down there. So I'm like, ooh, them the neighborhood kids who know him. I'm like, but I'm just like, ooh, this gonna make me sad. Please, make it be a light reference. Don't
it's not
zoom
about to be
in.
Light. It's about to be triggering.
Yeah.
To your butts. It's about to be real triggering.
Come on.
I mean, but the thing is, y'all already see it. I hate to be like, I always feel bad because I'm like, oh, it's getting dark. I walked in the room, but you see it, like you see it. So now, like, you might as well prepare yourself for it.
Yeah, that's true.
They haven't shied away from anything else. That cross was in that yard.
Yeah.
We've seen, the experimentation with the black bodies. I'm still tripping off of how it was a baby head. I said, oh no, this is too much. Like, I was like, just be at the team, like,
It's still so much.
Life.
There's that. There's the police, the captain with the black torso, and like you still have these damn showgirls running fucking around, and it's just I'm gonna keep bringing that up because I still want to know how cows give birth to the fucking showgirls. I'm gonna keep bringing that up every episode because they have some explaining to do. So it's so much happening in this show, and it's just like I need answers to something like now.
Yeah, same.
They'll give you some more questions, actually, for next. They're gonna give you 15 more things to think about. And I'm like, please
wrap this up. I'm gonna have hopes. I'm gonna, like you said, I'm gonna wait to the end of the season, and then I'm gonna hope I turn around and be like, okay, we did it. I don't want to turn around and be like, you know what? All right.
What if this whole season was like Atticus' dream? What if this was just all a dream?
That'd be annoying. I would be so mad. I don't like that.
A dream sequence? No.
I'll be
what
so
if all
pissed.
of this was
Friday
just
the goddamn 13th? We're not doing this shit. We're not gonna keep doing no dream every time. I'm tired. Wake the fuck up. I'm trying to watch something that's happening. Stress.
Amen.
I'm upset. I'm upset thinking about it.
So did y'all all see what's gonna happen next season? Not next season, what I'm talking about. Next episode, except for Grae?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna say anything else about that.
Okay, we're done.
Okay. All right. Well, before we end this episode, since Kat and Jackson Shaw knew, how would you? What would be your ratings of each episode this season so far? Like in
oh God! All right. Because this is what episode 6 or 7? 7.
7.
Lord.
Okay. So whatever the episode is with the baby head and get the fuck out my house episode 3, I want that to go all the way to the end. I didn't like that episode. It just was so silly at the end, him moving his head and the CGI, and I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity to make practical monsters. You could have done the baby head on that, but practically, and they didn't do nothing special. They just was walking towards you. You could have had people in suits walking, or people with the makeup on. It wasn't even long. Maybe. Okay, but they didn't look like transparent ghosts. Right. They was walking up on you. It was CGI, and I was not. Y'all know I'm not a big fan of CGI. So if it's an alien monster, of course I know you have to do what you have to do with big monsters. But when it comes to people-sized monsters, I'm like, why are we using computer effects for this? It just hurts my soul because I know y'all got enough budget for liquid latex and blood. Don't play with me. Yeah. Like you're playing with me. We're putting that at the end. The first episode is my favorite because it was just everything was. It was just, I was like, woo, yes. The love between George and Hippolyta was beautiful. Tick was fine and untainted, and I didn't think about how terrible a person he was. They was having a good time. I enjoyed that. Then I maybe episode 2. Then I guess I'll put 5 and then 6, but 3 is last. Last. Last for me because of the monsters and to get the fuck out my house. He was just he was shaking his head. I didn't like it. it.
I love. All right, before you go on, I just love like doing this because I like to just get other people's interpretations of stuff and like see how their ratings and stuff go. So it's interesting that you have 3 last because throughout the weeks that's like been on our top list.
The end just.
What about you, Kat?
Yeah, 3 might be last for me as well. This particular episode might be close to the top. You're going to hate me because my lists are usually like floating lists. This one might close to be to the top, like in the 1-2 slot. I really like that we got that extra character backstory. And of course, I got a dose of positivity, and it didn't feel super false, even though I came through and shook the table. But it didn't feel super false. Like, even if that is what's going on, I still was happy that she was able to have that moment even within herself, Hippolyta. Let's see. All these episodes together. After that is probably the first episode, because, of course, this is how we're introducing these characters. We're starting to get a little taste of them. The rest of the episodes kind of just like bunched together in the end. Like, they're not the worst. but it's still just like it's filler, but it's pushing the story along. So I'm not upset with it. The real thing is all the episodes feel so like they're all like loose ends to me, and it's progressing the story, but I'm feeling like, okay, and then what? Like when and I'm trying to be as patient as humanly possible, but I'm also knowing we're getting to the end of the season really quickly. So I'm hoping there's not like a shitload of open ends at the end of the season. So I can be like, I love the whole thing, minus, my issues with these people. I really liked last week's episode as well. I know on the internet machine, some people was like, I just feel like this. No, I really liked that we learned about the side woman that Tick keep run up this bill about, because you want to know who is he calling, girl? And so now we know who he's talking to. We know that not only the who we introduced to the character, we know this character's backstory. I thought her whole setup was fire. I definitely understood her plight, and I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the mythological creature. I enjoyed that she was getting rid of all these trash men. I was having a ball, and now Tickton came and ruined her life too. So now I just want to see. I just need to see how the rest of this gonna play out. Tap in with me at the end of the season.
We gonna see.
Okay. What about you, Grae?
Well, I didn't want to go next because my favorite episode is 3, but it's more so because you get Black characters in the role of an exorcism, a little bit of 13 Ghosts, plus, as we talked about, the real life of Emmett Till, all in one episode. Followed, I would say, 2, 1, 6, 5, 4. And I'm not going to rank this one yet because I'm going to watch it again.
Okay.
Ryan.
So I knew that it was coming this time, so I actually had to write it down because I'm getting old. So this might shock you, Bobby, but this episode number 7, I Am, is now my favorite. So it finally beat out my list because my list has been pretty the same.
So mine's fluctuates.
Mine hasn't. Like it's been, so it basically took the spot of 3. So 3 is number 2 for me now. Holy Ghost. And then the first episode, because y'all was saying, to be for real, that is when I didn't think about it like that. Tick was untainted. So it was like, okay, this is a really cool character. I like that they're humanizing him and everything, but to be honest, like in that first episode, I like what they did with every character. You got to see them in a pretty good light and see systemic racism as the beast. So I really like number 1. After that is Strange Case because bloody shoes. And then after that, I like 6 because they did a good job with Gia. I don't like flashback episodes much, but it didn't feel too flashbacky.
No, that one was dope.
Yeah. Right after that is 4, A History of Violence, which it hurts me to put it so low because I do love that episode, but putting it against 7, 3, and 5, and 6, like it's starting to get pushed down for me. Especially the further along that it goes, that they don't have any justice for Yahima, it is like pushing it further down. Like I want Girl to come through a time rip or something. And then the last one is Whitey's on the Moon. The further the season goes on, that just stays in the bottom for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Well, those are good lists, guys. I love that. Mine's changed up a little bit too. I will say 3 is still number 1, but then I would push this episode to number 2. I'll push this episode to number 2, and then I would do the first episode. And then I got number 5, 4, 6, and then 4, and then 2. That's all of them, right? Yeah. I'm not missing all of them. Yeah, so saying number 2 is going to be at the bottom, and I explain this every week. It's not a horrible episode. It's just that as these episodes go on, there's more and more things that's just I guess it's just better. It's enlightening us more. It's just more character development. It's just better. So, I mean, number 2, I will say, is kind of like that one that started almost everything because, I mean, we got the first one, cool. You see them with the Shoggoths and them experiencing racism and sundown towns. But number 2 is what introduced Christina and then Titus's pages, and just all of that stuff that got them onto this journey that they're on right now. So it's a shame that I have it at the very bottom, but I don't know. I feel like everything else is much more entertaining. But yeah, number 3, I feel like it's still my number 1. I don't know, that episode hit me. It got me, and I get what y'all saying about like the CGI, because CGI throws me off too. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of CGI, especially if I know you have the money to, get practical effects and make practical effects. But I think it was just Journey Smollett's performance and just everything else. It was really, really, really good. And again, I feel like that was like the most horror episode. And that's being biased. I just love it. And then I just love Ruby's episode as well, like that episode with her the metamorphosis episode or whatever. Like, that was just a beautiful episode too. So yeah, that's my rating. So overall, well, not overall, but we only got 3 episodes left. What do you guys think is going to happen, or what are you expecting is going to happen?
Tig gonna find out about that baby. Gia gonna find out about Letty.
Gia gonna pull up.
Letty and Ruby about to find out the truth about each other, and they gonna have another probably falling out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how Montrose is gonna come back, but he is. I don't know how, because him and Tig beefing, they might not. Maybe they might.
I just
come back
want him
together.
to find some peace. I just want him to find some peace, even if he doesn't end up with his partner. Like, that situation seems
and they should,
really,
because he seemed like he loved her.
I know, but it's shaky, and I just really want him to find some peace so he can treat the people around him the way they
I want his partner
deserve
to move
be treated.
on, because you deserve better,
girl.
You deserve better. You making breakfast and went to the store, and he is just complaining. Ew.
Right.
He can learn how to love somebody else after he get himself together, because you don't got time.
Girl, his plate would have went in the trash, and I would have ate my own.
I know that
part.
I said, "Oh, okay.
Well, you just don't eat then, starve."
Look,
First and the last. First and the last. Actually, I would never go back to his flat. First and the last. Never again. Then everybody getting embarrassed. You embarrassed because you sit out here and you put your heart out here for somebody who keeps, for various reasons, not really loving you the way you should be loved. And you still put yourself out here looking crazy. And now he to talk shit about breakfast that you done got up early to fix.
Yeah.
Oh, no. First and the last.
Like Hippolyta gonna use some kind of newfound power. Something
I'm excited
different about her when she come back, and she might confront people about the lies she's been told.
I thought you were saying you were hoping she was going to use her powers on Montrose. I don't know why that my mind went there, but I was like, oh my god, that's so evil. She just come in there and just.
If she finds out that Nick is not Montrose's, will double on him out and to find out like there's some other stuff, because we know that Montrose is like we don't know what's going on.
I mean, but also she still has to confront everybody about knowing that they all lied to her
about how her husband died. The love of her life.
Knew, but now she has confirmation that they all lied to her collectively every day. And I'm like, girl, she gonna beat all y'all ass when she get back.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
I feel bad, but you know what? No, I don't feel bad because they lied to her. Never mind.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now she got warrior moves, so they are in trouble.
It's over. I'm excited. She a warrior.
No, you're right.
Fighting.
Xena.
I think for me, it feels like I'm excited for the end, obviously, but I'm also scared for the level of magic we're going to see, because this is the first episode because up until this point, I don't know if y'all noticed this, but all the magic that had been done, the most impressive of it had been what Christina and William had been doing. This is the first episode that we get to see how far it's capable of reaching. And so I'm scared of what that's going to mean, because for the first time ever, like the stuff that Christina is doing seems more like hopeful aspirations. Like she wants more. She accepts that this is finite. The potion itself is finite because they're going to run out of blood at some point. Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to even be able to do that trick at some point. And she has to deceive to make moves. So her magic isn't that strong. And everyone's vying for the book. But even with that having been said, right? Whoever set up this, I can't remember his name, but the dude who set up the machine that Hippolyta was using, look at all that it did while it was broken. Like the magic levels are definitely about to be crazy.
Oh
I'm
yeah,
ready.
totally.
Yep, they about to roll a natural 20.
I'm ready.
On the,
Oh, I'm
Hey,
ready.
yes. Sorry. I
I'm
felt
so
What
that.
about you, Grae? What do you think?
I guess first of all, if they ever do a callback to the first episode, I assume, or it'd be funny if they called it the year 2020, like he went ahead to 2020, and that's what it looks like for him. But I guess to Ryan's point, I want to see where the supernatural and or more monsters. We only have 3 episodes left, so it'd be cool to get more in there before these 3 episodes expire. Also, I want to see how Tick and the cop adventure through the portal ended. Because Tick comes back, but the cop didn't come back yet, along with Hippolyta. So I wonder if we're going to see what they did when they were on the other side.
Yeah.
Also, I did Google the next episode since you guys were talking about it. It's called Jigabobo. So I assume we are going to hear what happened to Emmett.
I don't know how I feel about
I'm
that.
stressed.
I also don't like that title. It makes it. I'm a little on the
But
edge.
that's on
Triggered.
purpose.
Yeah,
That's on purpose.
yeah. I'm on
I
the edge.
seen that too. Like I seen like when you go on Google it does show, and I seen that, and I'm just like, oh gosh, here we go. But yeah, I don't know what to say about that. But yeah, I do believe they are going to show some Emmett Till stuff going on in that one, and when you see it, you do see some like riots and stuff happening around that too. So it does make a lot of sense. I'm just scared because I don't want to see that.
I had enough black trauma, bro. Like and I know this is it because it's the setting of the show. You're gonna experience that, but it's spooky. So you're like, well, I'm gonna just watch it anyway. But I just was like, come on, you will take me right into the so you gonna cut out the cosmic and bring out the real life terror.
Turn up.
Right.
Well, here we go, because that's gonna be there watching it.
Me.
Right, we're all gonna be at the in front of the TV, and then oh man, my thing is I just think that I feel like I'm hoping that there's going to be a Christina versus maybe Hippolyta, because I feel like at this moment, like what they show all of this with Hippolyta, I feel like she is powerful.
Yeah.
And Christina, I feel like she's like the only magical being that's actually, being destructive, I should say, for, the things that she want. So maybe there will be a versus between them two somehow. I don't know. That would be cool.
I'd like to see it.
I'm about to say the same thing. I'd like to see it.
Yeah. That would be cool. All right. Well, any final thoughts before we go, guys, about the show?
Don't move your life for men at all,
girl,
because they just are ungrateful. All of them are just really ungrateful. So just live your best life, and that's really it. Don't jump through portals if you can avoid it. That's all.
Don't give your life for nobody.
Message.
Stand in your truths. And I felt like that was the overall message of a lot of people's journey tonight. Y'all need to be standing in your truths. Because we are all tired. The character talking to you was tired. The people watching the show was tired. Right. Y'all just need to stand in your truths.
Message.
Message. And you had me laughing, jumping through portals, because I would be the dumbass if I see a portal to jump through it.
See, what if all your parts don't go through with you? And
that's true.
I play Portal, so I don't. I'm like,
black. I'm black and a woman. What time is gonna be safe for me? Where are you gonna send me? Where it's gonna be cool?
Right. So the land, I said, oh hell no.
Any year, any place here, I'm just like, you know what?
Oh man. Well, all right, guys, that would be the end of this episode. I had a great time chatting with you guys about Lovecraft Country this week.
Yeah, me too. That was fun.
It was fun.
It was fun. I had a good
time. So that would be it. So, Jazz and Kat, where can everybody find you?
Ooh, well, you see the label where it says "Girl That's Scary."
I'm crying.
You know that.
Yeah.
Girl That's Scary on Instagram, Twitter, www.girlthat'sscary.com. We got a Patreon with bonus episodes and shenanigans. So just search Girl That's Scary through Patreon. Anywhere you can just You in Google, girl.
We do pop up on the Google machine. I look.
Yeah,
I did look.
I know that's right.
I look. I said, "Oh, this is so fun," because I need to see who watches. So I was like, "Okay, I can see if I find myself." So that let me know that y'all should have no trouble finding us because I was able to find it too.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I like that.
I love it. How about you, Grae?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Grae himself. You can also check out my blog, which is going to have more updates now that it's almost October at littleshopofterrors.com, as well as I have a new editorial coming out on somethingghoulish.com next week.
Hey. Can you give us the deets on that or not? We got to be surprised.
I'm going to say surprise. It's
Okay.
It's Texas Chainsaw Massacre, but I'm having fun with it.
Okay.
Yay, I can't wait to read it. Can't wait. How about you?
Me too. So you can find me at Brother Ghoulish on Instagram and on Twitter. And I have a podcast called Brother Ghoulish's Tomb that you can find on everywhere podcasts are played. I'm not gonna go through that long list. The Spotify, Apple, everywhere, just Brother Ghoulish's Tomb. And if you forget any of this stuff, you can always check out my website, brotherghoulish.com. And I just finished a short story series that I've been running for a few episodes called Martin County. And since it was so broken up, I did put 1 and 2 on YouTube. So you can find that. So you can cram and get into part 3, which I did as a separate bonus episode. So, we'll be premiering a new story. Multiple people, but I'll be preparing a new story for the Halloween season. So I'm working overtime on that. So, stay tuned.
I just love that everybody's just being so creative and just just amazing. Especially people of color, doing our thing now. And I make this a thing every week, and I don't care if people get tired of hearing it, but I'm just happy. I will say, the pandemic is bittersweet, and I say this all the time, because all this shit is horrible. But I feel like with all this happening, we were able to create more. We're able to connect with, each other more, being on each other's content and just things like that. Because I feel like if this wasn't happening, it's possible, but I feel like not like this. You know what I mean? Because we have more time, and a lot of things happen in the world recently where it kind of drew us into kind of doing this, which is amazing. Because like Zoe said last week, I wouldn't have filmed, she filmed me, and since she filmed me, I filmed Girl That's Scary and stuff like that. So it's pretty dope, how we all connected, and then I hooked her on to Kill the Dead and Brother Ghoulish's Tomb. So I'm just happy that everybody's connecting and just I don't know, just connecting. That's all I gotta say. So
no, really, because this wouldn't have happened otherwise. I was navigating these horror streets, and I didn't see a lot of people who looked like us. So I was like, I'm just here. I'm just following the people. They seem cool, I guess. And then, of course, I'm not running Instagram, so Zoe and Kat, they found the Instagram first, and they was like, "Oh, they cool." And then she had all these people, because she has all these followers, cosplayers, all this network of people, and I'm like, "Ooh, I'm into the cosplaying, I'm into the horror, I'm into the sci-fi." I'm like, I just want to find all of the people who do all of the things.
I mean, I'm not even gonna hold you. I pulled up on the internet machine because, we all have been watching horror and sci-fi for a very long time.
Yeah.
We know there are not a lot of people that look like us. And I literally opened my phone. I said, I want to find everybody black. Straight up. Because, you go on Pinterest, and when you're finding stuff, you want to find stuff that is reflective of you. I can find everything else, and that is nothing shade of nobody else. Everybody has wonderful content. But I want to see people for once, or connect in addition to really with the people that look like me. Because you have a different perspective in the same shit that I don't have. Yeah. And I would love to hear it. I would love to check out your work. Even if you are the only black person, I would love to see it. And then we have connected with other brown folks and everybody else. And I just like that. Unfortunately, it took a lot of shaky situations in our everyday lives that connect us all together that has brought us all, easier to find each other, which I'm very grateful for. Because prior to this, I followed Xena on my own. I knew of a couple other people, but and it was just hard to find people. Yeah. And I'm just like, okay, I like listening to other people's stuff, but
Yeah.
I want a different perspective. Like, I want something that I can kind of connect with more. And I'm grateful for that.
Yes. Or people who have the double consciousness that we do. I want people who, because I'm like I said, I love I have like at least 10 to 15 podcasts. A lot of them. I have a bunch because I will sit there for hours and the podcasts will be playing all day, and I be just doing stuff. Podcasts be playing in the background. So I'm just like, you know, it's one thing, and then I'm listening to like them talk about movies, and I hear them say something, and I'm like, that's incorrect, or like not to be rude, but like, or that's not quite. Like they're saying that they don't understand why something is happening. I'm like, I understand exactly why this is happening because of X, Y, Z, because of how I grew up, and I want people who, you know, have that same experience to be like, oh yeah, that happened because of this, or oh, I saw things were shaky early because of this evidence, and that would have already turned me on to this. So I'm just like, you know, having people who have that experience and that voice, just the sound of like our voice or the sound of that AAV, just the sound of that drawl for me, especially in country, just the sound of something like, I'm like, okay, this sounds like home a little bit. Like, all right, let's go. We go rock. That's so cute. But I'm just here to everybody creating and making spooky stuff. You know, pull up on all of us.
Pull up on everybody.
Everybody.
Yes.
Subscribe. Like and subscribe. That's what the YouTubers are saying.
Yeah.
That's what I be saying.
I know, Bobby, you already here, but I was like, I just got here. Like I never thought I would be saying that. Like, for real, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Same. I never thought no shade, but I used to be making fun of people that was like and subscribe, and now I'm just saying that every video because you know you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yes.
But I love it, and I'm happy that I found you guys, and we're just still finding more people, and it's like people are still creating stuff now. Like I'm seeing new people just pop up now. You know what I mean? Like new people's creating podcasts, and you know, I'm happy that, and then we all putting each other on, which is dope. It's just like we all need to support because, like you guys said, we never really seen too many people that look like us doing this. Like you know, I'm always on YouTube. I'm listening to podcasts, and I always, you know, see other like white people and their you know, hearing their stories and you know their thoughts on things, and I'm just like, I know black people like hard to, and some people don't, and sometimes people don't even like to admit it.
I see that a lot,
you know, like, and then if they do, like they know like this, you know, the you know the simple ones, but which is, you know what I mean, they like hard, whatever, it's cool, whatever. We just dig deep into it a little bit more, but I'm just happy that, you know, we are starting to find more and more people, and I'm starting to see a big variety of us. So,
and that I just want to say something to that real quick. I don't know if y'all had a chance to listen to Black Women Are Scary, their latest episode, where wait, say again.
I've listened to them before, but I have not heard the latest one yet.
It's called And Then I Wake Up. Oh my God! Like y'all have to check them out. Like they killed it. I would like give a summary and stuff, but I would totally spoil it because I get too excited.
No, I
like
y'all didn't listen.
Y'all have to hear that story. Like they blew that shit out the water. Like, but yeah, I like everything y'all are saying. Like to be for real, I don't take any of this for granted because it's so nice to work with people who come from like basically a lot of the things that I've went through, and to share that love for horror and understand each other better through it. I'll never take that for granted. And like this quarantine is why it all happened for me, like you're saying, Bobby. So like I didn't know what I was going to get into, but to find like support and us being able to connect with each other, like, I mean, it's just a move forever, like to be honest.
Yes, I love that preference.
Okay, yes.
People are jumping into horror anyway because I feel like we're living in a horror film.
Yes.
So I feel like people are really getting into horror, and then with the different kind of horror that's coming out, it's not just slashers and blood and tits as it usually is with some things. Now they're coming to things that really scare them, like you know, and not to say smart horror, elevated horror, because I like those, like Midsommar and everything. I like those movies, but I like slashers too. But some people didn't like that, so they can get with all the different angles of horror because it's not just one thing. It's so vast, and it's political, and it makes statements, and then anything can happen.
It's creative conversation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to grow the community as a whole too.
Yeah, there's a lot that I want to see now in the horror as far as films and stuff go, but we'll get into that another time because I can go on and on and on what I want to see. So yeah, all right, guys. So that will conclude this episode for Lovecraft Country. Thanks again for coming on, guys. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Of course, I'm having y'all again. Hopefully, because I think this thing could fit up to like 10 people. So hopefully on the season finale, y'all down.
We go act a fool.
Season finale, I want all y'all on, like all the people I had on, like Zoe, you guys, and stuff like that, and just just chat up on the season finale. Are y'all down?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
That would be cool. That would be cool. So yeah, that would be it, and I'll see you guys, I guess, next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.